FBI Director James Comey back in the hot seat today. Comey's going to testify behind closed doors before the House Intel Committee on the Russia investigation. It follows a day of stiff questioning before a Senate hearing. Here's a taste.
Is it fair to say that the Russian government is still involved in American politics?
Yes.
Is it fair to say we need to stop them from doing this?
Yes, fair to say.
Do you agree with me the only way they're going to stop is for them to pay a price for interfering in our political process?
I think that's a fair statement.
No mention of China there, much to the president's chagrin. Let's bring in Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, a member of the House Intel and Judiciary Committees. He'll be at today's hearing. Good to have you with us. And, of course, what you want to talk about today will be somewhat contextualized by what you heard yesterday. How did you feel about the FBI director's explanation on several issues, including why he felt compelled to disclose the Clinton investigation?
Good morning, Chris. I'm mostly focused on the FBI director's statement that Russia is still meddling in our politics, and that should be a wake-up call for all of us, Republicans and Democrats, that we need to get back to work, have an independent, credible investigation that shows progress. I look forward to doing that this morning when the FBI director comes back before the House Intelligence Committee.
Oh, good for you. So you're going to put to the side a lot of the intrigue about the political connections and all that and focus on what really is the main congressional component here, which is oversight of that process. And to that end, how confident are you that you're going to hear that it was Russia, not maybe China, as the president continues to suggest? And where do you take it from there?
The evidence is overwhelming that it was Russia who interfered, that it was ordered by Vladimir Putin, and that the candidate that they sought to help was Donald Trump. That is not disputed. What I think is most important now is to find out whether any U.S. persons were involved. And most importantly, now that we know Russia intends to do this again, what are we going to do? What reforms are going to be put in place to make sure we never find ourselves in a mess like this again? And the one thing I will say about China, Chris, is that there are other countries who we know have similar cyber capabilities out there that will look at this as an opportunity if our country's divided and we're not doing anything to make sure it doesn't happen again.
So what do you think about the questioning of Comey and his actions with respect to the Clinton investigation? Do you think that's a proper line of questioning for you guys today?
Our job is oversight, and I saw that on display yesterday in the Judiciary Committee. I'm focused, though, on what happens next, and that's where I hope my colleagues will go, and I believe we want to know, does the FBI director have all of the resources he needs to follow the evidence? This is a very complicated case that took place over a lengthy period of time with a number of foreign witnesses, complicated financial transactions, and electronic communications. We want to make sure that at the end of the day, he can say when he brings an investigation to a close, he had everything he needed to chase the evidence.
You know, the president says that you guys made this up. Democrats made up the Russia-Trump connection to explain the loss in the election. Now, obviously, you still have ongoing inquiries and a FBI investigation into the matter, but have you seen any cause for concern here that goes beyond speculation?
Yes, a great cause for concern, evidence of collusion. And Chris, as a former prosecutor, I can tell you that oftentimes the way a person behaves once they find out they're being investigated tells you a lot about whether you're investigating the right person. And from Donald Trump, we have seen someone who continues to try and obstruct an investigation.
Switch topics. On the health care bill, where is your vote? What do you think happens today? What do you think it means?
I will oppose it, and when I looked at myself in the mirror this morning, I didn't see somebody who felt it was right to raise the premiums of my neighbors, to deny coverage to people who have pre-existing conditions, and to kick 24 million people off of health care. And I hope my Republican colleagues do the same and vote against it as well.
Now, we just had Congressman Burgess on, and he says, well, we're taking money out, but that's only because it's so inefficiently spent. And we're going to be able to have the same levels of coverage that you have now and spend less because we're going to do it better. Do you see how that is possible?
No, and what they're actually doing is they're leaving it up to the states to decide if they want to deny people coverage for having a pre-existing condition. And so that now leaves uncertainty for any patient in America who has a existing condition, and that, I think, is exactly what we tried to prevent when we passed the Affordable Care Act.
They say the governors asked for this. They wanted more choice, and they can get a block grant or other defined contribution from the federal government, and that will give them flexibility and therefore make it better for people, not just getting it off Medicaid, but also to deal with pre-existing conditions and high-risk pools.
What we have right now is a system that says if your child has a pre-existing condition, you have to worry about a lot of unfortunate things, but one of those is not finding coverage, affordable coverage for your child. And now that has been taken away, and it'll put every parent in America into a state of uncertainty. And Chris, that's not right, whether the governors want it or not.
Do you think it's going to pass?
I hope not. And also, Chris, one other thing. This also includes one of the largest tax cuts and transfers of wealth from the poorest and middle-class families in America to the richest, which would also include a $2 million bonus for Donald Trump in his first 100 days. And I don't think anyone thinks that, after what we've seen these past 100 days, he deserves a $2 million tax cut.
Eric Swalwell, thank you very much for laying out the issues of the day. We look forward to the hearing and the vote.
My pleasure.